And we begin here at noon with a live look at eastbound I-70. This is near Greenfield in Hancock County. You can see traffic at a standstill. All lanes are closed because of a crash involving a semi. NDOT tells us the truck is on fire, so emergency crews are on the scene working to put that fire out. Traffic in the meantime being diverted to State Road 9 in Greenfield. Again, that live picture, eastbound 70 near Greenfield, and a big backup. We'll keep an eye on it. Thanks for joining us here at noon on this Tuesday afternoon. I'm Dustin Grove here with meteorologist Sean Ash, who says we're dodging some downpours this afternoon.
Yeah, we're going to have the axis that kind of shoved everything south yesterday is kind of migrating back to the north here. So if you have outdoor plans, you're going to have to keep an eye on the radar here. Not a guarantee that everybody gets wet, but there will be some locally heavy pockets of rainfall for sure here. There's a live Doppler 13 radar with cloud cover, by the way, and we'll show you a mixed bag of sunshine and the clouds that are starting to bubble up now along this axis. We'll dive in a little bit closer, and there you go. You can see a cell there developing just to the south and southeast of Mooresville. These are going to be drifting to the north and northeast for today. And really, we're just getting into the heating of the afternoon. So the coverage of these cells will begin to increase. And localized flooding on the table here. We still have a leftover flash flood warning from earlier this morning, and we got some additional heavy pockets. Keep in mind this atmosphere that's over us, like it's full of juice here. So anything will have heavy rain and potential on radar for today. Temperatures already in the mid 80s. Not record-breaking heat, but you'll notice this. The dew points now are above 70 degrees. That's the air you can wear, and we are just getting started on a rather humid stretch run that will get significantly worse next week. I'll have more on that in the extended forecast. Heat indices already near 90, and they will settle into the middle 90s outside of these storms that are popping up here. So we got a lot to cover in the 7-day forecast. Got the weekend, and we've got the heat wave that's ahead for next week. We'll see you with that in a few minutes.
See you then, Sean. Now to the headlines. We're learning new details today about a paragliding crash in Hancock County. There's what we know. It happened at Indianapolis Regional Airport around 9 last night. The person on that paraglider was hurt and sent to the hospital. A spokesperson for the airport authority says it involved just that single motorized parasail. Right now, we're working to learn that person's condition and what may have led to that crash. Of course, once we know more, we'll update you right here on 13 News and online at WTHR.com. An update now to a homicide investigation we've been following on Indy's west side. Metro Police have arrested a suspect in that case. This is on Alton Avenue near North Tibbs and West Michigan. Here's the scene just before 10 last night. Officers found a woman dead. They detained a suspect, then arrested him at the scene. The victim's name has not yet been identified. A 19-year-old man is under arrest facing 2 preliminary counts of murder. It's all connected to the deadly shootings of a 12-year-old and his 24-year-old brother. Their mother shared these pictures of her sons. I cannot imagine. 12-year-old Izzy Offit and 24-year-old Waylon Coe. She said she didn't know anything had happened to them until she woke up Saturday morning to get Izzy ready for a trip to Kings Island. That's when she noticed he wasn't home and then got the call no parent ever wants to get. The shooting happened around 4 Saturday morning on West 38th Street near Georgetown Road. That's where the officers found the brothers in critical condition inside a car. First responders got them to the hospital, but neither survived. A man was found dead with a gunshot wound on the city's east side while police were serving a search warrant. IMPD tells us they believe that gunshot was self-inflicted. It all happened around 6:30 last night on East Washington and Linwood. State police say officers from the Indiana Crime Gun Task Force were serving a warrant for a violent felon. When they knocked on the door, they say they heard the gunshot. That's when they found the body inside, believed to be the target of the warrant. A man who walked out of the home is now in custody, and no one else was hurt. To Grant County now, where a teenager is set to learn his sentence today for killing a man. Zayden Guy, who was just 13 at the time of the murder, admitted to shooting Byron Dennis Jr. inside a Circle K convenience store in Marion last year. Guy admitted in court he saw a gun in Dennis's pocket and intended to steal it. Now, the usual minimum for murder is 45 years in prison here in Indiana, but by pleading guilty without a plea deal, Guy is hoping the judge will consider an alternative sentence since he's a juvenile. We're going to have much from the courtroom. We have a reporter inside that courtroom, and we'll let you know what happens today starting on 13 News at 4. An important community conversation is underway right now between the agencies involved in solving homicides and those waiting for answers. And after the recent violence involving young people around here, some say these conversations are more important than ever. Our Logan Gay was inside the room during one of those recent meetings.
For the victims' families and the communities, there can be a lot of confusion surrounding homicide investigations in the process. But these community conversations were designed to help with that. It's not every day you have all the agencies involved with investigating homicides in one room, but that's what's happening inside these community conversations. And while some people may not always agree with the process, IMPD Deputy Chief of Criminal Investigations Division, Kendall Adams, says it's important to the overall community.
Knowing how that process works, being more informed, all makes us a better community when it comes to homicides.
Homicides that are impacting a lot of young people and their families. Many of those families are still waiting for answers. Adams says they're doing everything they can to intervene before conflicts turn violent.
There's no reason that a child should say, or they don't have anything to do. We have too many programs here in the city, but they have to start to take responsibility for themselves and their own actions and start to invest in their future.
Janet McGuire lost her son James to gun violence this year. She says there has been an arrest. She says she came here to get reassurance that these agencies are supporting survivors, old and new.
It relieves us of this pain we carry around with us. That somebody actually care about the ones that we lost. It really does, that somebody really cares and is going to be there for us.
With that in mind, the agencies tasked with doing this important work believe the only way the city is going to see decreasing homicide numbers is by doing exactly what they're doing here, asking questions and getting answers as a community.
All of us are doing great work individually, but we have to bring that focus and that energy together for the betterment of our young people.
If you missed this community conversation, you still have more opportunities to go to the next one. We'll post that date when we get it. These meetings happen quarterly. In Indianapolis, Logan Gay, 13 News.
Also, this afternoon, parents and preschool workers are sounding the alarm after some major funding cuts. On My Way Pre-K is the state's program to help lower-income families pay for preschool. But last month, the Family Social Services Administration here in Indiana announced the number of students allowed in that program is being slashed from 6,000 down to just 2,500. Now, Jacqueline Strong, who's director of Little Duckling Early Learning Center, says both preschools and parents are facing some tough decisions.
There's really not a whole lot you can go without if you're running a high quality program. I know some programs that have had to close their doors because, they just can't afford to operate without students.
When FSSA announced the cuts, the agency said it was necessary to keep the program sustainable for the long haul due to federal funding used in the past no longer being available. Today, we are learning more about where Indiana stands financially overall. The state's revenue report is set to be released this afternoon. Now, back in April, you may remember lawmakers got some really tough news when the forecast revealed revenue would be $2 billion short. $2 billion less than they thought it would be. So that led to some major cuts and last-minute changes in the final days of the legislative session as lawmakers worked on a new budget. Today's report will reveal where the state stands on that shortfall, where we actually ended up. We're also expecting to hear Governor Braun's reaction to this new report. Our State House reporter Emily Longnecker is on this story. We're going to have much more on all those details later today from her here on 13 News.